She's one of the rare opera stars hailing from the Caribbean. Soprano Jeanine De Bique grew up in Trinidad and Tobago. Her radiant and nuanced voice has brought her to stages across the US and Europe. She's currently here in Paris, starring as a classic fairy tale princess in a not-so-classic production of Jules Massenet's Cinderella at the Opéra Bastille. Jeanine De Bique, hello. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
As I said, Cinderella, one of the iconic fairy tale princesses. Is she a character that you particularly connected with when you were growing up?
Yes, because I love to clean. I think I have an immense problem with cleaning, which my family can very much attest to. And also because she's a girl that is really trying to find her way through life and really find that thing that finally takes her out of her situation and gets her into a better one. And I mean, growing up myself, I grew up in Trinidad and Tobago, and studying classical music was not easy there because it's not the major art form, the more popular art form to be a part of. But however, it was interesting to me because I was a classical pianist before, and then I found that I had a voice that I could use to bring in income and develop, and that allowed me to leave my country, and I'm here with you guys now.
Yeah, so it sounds like you and Cinderella both like to clean, both dreamers. I know many girls in our generation grew up with that sort of 1950s Disney cartoon version of Cinderella. Yeah. But in 1997, there was this great TV movie starring the singer Brandy as Cinderella and Whitney Houston as the fairy godmother. I don't know if you saw that one, but I remember it being a very big deal at the time. Does it feel meaningful to you as a Black woman to be playing Cinderella?
In this production, it does mean something. Of course, being a Black woman in opera, period, and given the opportunity to be on the stage in major roles is a big deal and very important to me, regardless of if it's Cinderella or another role. And I feel like it's very important for young people to see persons like myself representing them on the stage so that we could diversify the audience much more and also give wider opportunities to young singers like myself.
Absolutely. And this production is a special one. It's set at the turn of the 20th century, the so-called Belle Époque, when the opera itself was written. Now, the stage centerpiece is a giant machine. The magic coach is not a pumpkin, but a hot air balloon. There is a glass slipper, but also a pair of spangled tennis shoes. Let's take a look at the duet Cinderella sings with the prince when they bond at the ball. This is Jeanine De Bique, of course, with mezzo-soprano Paula Murihi as the prince. Your voices are so beautiful together. Now, it might seem revolutionary that the prince is played by a woman, but that's actually how it was originally written by Jules Massenet back in 1899.
Yes, that's correct. And there's something powerful about that because the way that women's voices connect and combine, and also for writing something like that at his time was probably pretty revolutionary, and already he was making a political statement by doing that. So it's really fantastic to perform with Paula. I've performed with her before, so I was really excited to learn that she was going to be my prince because I knew that we were going to blend together well.
This show is so much fun. It's also quite feminist, and it has a very feminine production team. It was directed by Mariam Clément. The orchestra is conducted by Carrie Lynn Wilson. Was it different working with such a female team? Is that something that's typical in opera?
No, it's not. So therefore, it's one that's really entirely special. And I think that most people might think that we may all not get along for some reason, but I'll let you know that women together, we are extremely powerful, and the messages that we have to tell come across really well when we work well together. And this team was a fantastic team to work with. Everything went smoothly. Everybody was nice. Everybody was going towards the same goal, and we achieved it.
It's such a fun production. And Jeanine, you mentioned you grew up in Trinidad and Tobago, a small Caribbean country just off the coast of Venezuela. You were mentioning that it was, not sort of obvious for you to become an opera singer. Can you talk a little bit about how opera music came into your life?
Well, being an island that was colonized by England, obviously they left their traditions and their culture with us. And I grew up as an Anglican, which is an English Catholic, and that music, the hymn books in the church already had this musical notation in the hymn books, and I grew up seeing that with I was on my grandmother's hip like this, and my grandmother was singing in the choir a lot, and I always saw in the hymn books already this music notation since the age of, I don't know, 3. So being introduced to that there from being in church, and my parents already being musicians themselves at one point. My mother was a guitarist and she also played the piano. They put us in extracurricular activities of playing piano and being involved in the school's choir. Our country is very musical, very artistic, and we have massive choirs, and we were a part of that as well. So it wasn't abnormal, nor was it strange for me to develop fast in classical music as well as folk music, and then make the decision whether it was a possibility. And luckily I had 2 teachers that showed me that it was a possibility to make a career out of this, and directed me in the path of going to New York to go to school and develop further the craft. I decided to do voice instead of piano, because I felt that I was much more of a extroverted actor type person, that I could combine music and acting at the same time. And then I went from there.
And you made your debut at the Paris Opera in 2021 as the title role in Alcina by Handel. Let's take a look at that performance. That's you singing Handel. Your debut solo album, Mirrors, is also mostly music by Handel. Jeanine, is there something in particular about his music that speaks to you, or do you have other favorite composers?
Oh, well, Massenet is definitely becoming one of my favorite composers now. Handel has always been since school, one of my more performed composers, which is why we decided to create an album surrounding that composer and his contemporaries. It's a beautiful album, if I do say so myself. But now branching off into the more romantic repertoire, Massenet, going into Bizet next month or the month after, is going to be something. It is very exciting for my voice and my development, and also my character. And I'm excited about exploring more composers like that.
And you were named a UNESCO Youth Ambassador for Peace all the way back when you were in your early 20s. Giving back to the community, I know, is something that's important to you. What message do you want to pass on to the younger generation?
I just want to encourage them to keep their voices being heard, especially young girls, and to young men, to encourage them to still be strong yet humble, and there's nothing wrong with being nice. There's nothing wrong with being comfortable in your own skin, and to just keep uplifting each other in a positive way.
And Jeanine, we ask all of our guests to pick another artist or piece of work that they've loved recently, and we were all excited that you chose a photographer we actually recently had on the show, Tendiwe Morio. Tell me about her work. What do you like about it?
Well, a friend of mine introduced me to her photography. I have yet to go to the exhibition, so I'm excited to go when we get some time off. But what I enjoy so much about her work is how she how African women resonate through her work, how she celebrates their skin color, their texture, their beauty just comes straight through her camera lens in a really unique way. And that resonates so much with me because of what we're doing here with Cendrillon. Cendrillon is when you come to the production, you will see that all the women look the same, coming out like a Barbie. And it's interesting that this production came out before the movie Barbie, and we have all these girls coming out in pink dresses with blonde hair, and I come out in the same pink dress with blonde hair. It's absolutely ridiculous, right? But that is what society has taught us from since I was a young girl, that being blonde and in a pink dress was the epitome of beauty. I mean, I had a yellow towel and I would brush this yellow towel to say that this is really beautiful. But no, I love the fact that the director and this photographer are highlighting that it doesn't take a pink dress to be beautiful. It doesn't take blonde hair to be beautiful. It's just who you are, and let that just scream through, and not let us as women, no matter what color skin you are, be silenced by that. And I love what she does with her work with African women like this.
And it's a message that absolutely screams through in that Cinderella production as well. Jeanine De Bique, thank you again so much for being with us.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
A reminder that Cinderella is running at the Opéra Bastille through the 16th of November. We'll leave you with some images from Tendiwe Morio's show at the 193 Gallery in Paris, where it is showing through December. Thank you so much for watching. There's news coming up on France 24 after this.
They're known for their cuisine and saying hello with a kiss. They only work 35 hours per week, when they're not on strike, that is. How true are these clichés about France? Every week, Florence Villeminot tears apart stereotypes. Join us for insight into French culture and current events to understand what makes the French so unique.
French Connections, presented by Florence Villeminot on France 24 and France24.com.